Welcome to the Sisters Uncensored podcast, where we get into everything from childhood trauma to millennial adulting and all things in between.
We share crazy stories from the past and present to help us cope with the insanity that is our lives.
By sharing our perspectives, we hope to bring some relatability, laughter, and unsolicited advice that can help you survive the messiness of life along with us.
My name's Jessica Labita. I'm a millennial mom, wife, and marketing professional, and I am absolutely insane.
My name is Ashley Lanive. I am a millennial stay-at-home mom, avid golfer, and too mouthy for my own good.
We are real sisters, and this is Sisters Uncensored. Take this trip with us. So today we're going to talk about anybody who might be going through a divorce or newly divorced who is handling a difficult situation with their kids, and we're going to basically tell you what not to do because certain things can screw people up big time, especially as adults.
Agreed. Okay. If you're dating somebody new, I think this is important to really pay attention to. So our parents, obviously after they divorced, they started dating other people. And we had a few very memorable people, 3 in particular, that Dad dated. I'd like to start off with a little disclosure. I am not proud of some of the shit that we did.
We were pretty terrible.
We were a little out of control. And to set the scene, I mean, when we went to live with our dad, it was a free-for-all. We got to do whatever we wanted. So by the time we became like late teenager, like in our late teens, early 20s, we were out of control.
Yeah.
Like, that's fair to say.
Yeah.
We ruled the roost, and he was outnumbered. There was no like reeling it back in at that point. So we were very mouthy.
Yeah.
We were very bossy. Just to set the scene.
And we pretty much did everything we could to make his life miserable. I think just because we were so generally unhappy with the situation and all the change that was going on in our life, that we got to a place where we turned pretty spiteful, which was not good at all.
Yeah, and once we had it like set in our mind that we didn't like somebody that he was dating, it was over for them. Like, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think the important thing here, while we're talking about like how we tortured these women, these poor women, is to think about maybe what we would have done differently now that we know the long-term effects of some of the decisions that we made, and maybe how like our parents could have done things a little differently, because I think they were being very selfish at the time and living their best life, which is fine. Like,
I think so.
But at the same time, it impacts us, and it impacted other people.
It was also new for all of us.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they had been dating before. Our parents were together for our whole lives when we were kids.
Yeah.
So by the time this happened, it was an awkward thing for everybody.
Yeah, we were learning as we went, for
At
sure.
a really, really rough age to be learning at, because we were mouthy.
Oh yeah, we were just bitchy
Ooh.
Teenagers. It was not good.
Very bitchy teenagers. Okay, so let's see. I would say we'll start off with Dad's girlfriend, Andrea.
Okay, so Andrea was the nice one.
She really was.
I would say out of the 3 of them, she's the one that I had the least problem with. She sort of like left us alone. And I think it was an adjustment period because we were so used to Dad being with Mom, but I think enough time had gone by at that point when he'd started dating her where it was like, okay, like he's gonna start dating someone else. This is kind of cool. Like, now we're getting 2 Christmases. There's a new like mother figure here.
Right.
She had 2 kids that were boys, and so they were much younger than us.
Right.
So that wasn't like, I don't know. They didn't like.
We didn't really like hang with
interact
them.
with us.
Yeah,
really.
It wasn't
no.
like we weren't close with them or anything like that. I mean, I feel like of all of the people that he dated when he was dating Andrea, she was very good about just not stepping on toes. She was sensitive to us in the sense that like she was always very kind. We never had a bad thing to say about anybody. Like, she didn't overstep in any kind of way. I feel like she was very respectful to us. And at the same time, I think we were also kind of like living our lives as teenagers, so we weren't really like hanging out with Dad and his girlfriend.
No.
You know what I mean?
I think she was really caring to him too.
Yeah.
And I think she felt stronger for him than he felt for her. I think she had been single probably longer than he was. So he was kind of, I think they were together a long time.
They were.
But I think he was still not sure like what his future held and if he really wanted to be committed to one person. And I'm pretty sure that's why that relationship ended, was she wanted to get married and have like a new family. And he was like not there.
He wasn't there.
Yeah.
He definitely was not there. He also, I think with Dad, he was, after being with her for an extended period of time, he acknowledged that this is not where he was going. You know what I mean? He knew he wasn't gonna marry her.
Yeah.
And because of that, he, ended the relationship. But that was the best thing that you could do. I mean, it's wrong to string somebody along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they left amicably. They were, or parted amicably. They were very civil. They still get along.
Yeah.
They were always friendly, never an issue.
Yeah.
She was a good egg. She really was. She was a good one.
Yeah, I liked her. I did. And I don't think we did anything to really disrupt their relationship too much, because I think for all of us, it was still so new. We were just like, whatever.
Yeah,
like, it didn't really affect me. And I think I had so much going on in my own life at the time that I was not really caring.
That's what I was thinking. It's
too
like,
much.
We were really just out and about. I mean, we were in the woods and shit. So,
And I don't know if like I ever expected it to be serious, even for as long as it went on. Something inside of me was like,
this isn't
going to be forever. So
yeah,
it just kind of,
I don't know. I was just kind of like,
it didn't really like faze me one way or the other.
yeah, I was
not like some of the future relationships phased me.
Okay, so wait, let's move on to the next one then.
Okay.
All right. So Andrea, she was good. She never stepped on toes. She was a good egg. She really was. If you've been listening to our podcast, you know we're Sisters Uncensored, and that means we don't gatekeep any of our favorite beauty procedures, one of which is our permanent eyebrows done by our girls Sam and Jess at the Brow Lounge located in Little Falls, New Jersey. Find them on Instagram at The Brow Lounge NJ and check them out at www.thebrowloungenj.com. Mention Sisters Uncensored for 10% off. So then after that relationship ended, you guys have to remember this was in like the early days of the internet, where online dating was like just starting to come out. I mean, it was in its infancy.
Yep.
We had dial-up. You remember that stupid noise you would hear, all of that crap, and you would like have the computer like in the middle of the living room. I don't know, but he would go online and go in chat rooms or whatever and like date.
Yeah, and he was like a rebel. Like he was like a innovator at the time, like being a part of all of this.
So
like
funny thinking of him online dating.
I know.
Can you imagine him on like
Tinder? No.
Like in this day and age, and him just swiping. I could just see it being like, oh God. Oh God.
It's how he looks at Instagram. He just swipes away.
Yeah.
He's all chicks on his phone.
It is. I was videoing him the other day doing that. It was so funny. It's some girl in like a bikini, and he's just sitting on his phone. I'm behind him. He has no idea. It was the funniest shit ever. Oh my God. I'm like, you're such a fucking creep. I recorded it and sent it to him. And he's like, I said, you're a creep in the text. And I was literally sitting behind him, and he turns around and he's like, what are you talking about? What am I doing? I'm not doing anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. I'm like, I see what you're looking at. You're a creep.
He's a professional.
Whatever. Anyway, so he met a girl or a woman through like AOL or something like that. And her name was Susie. She was a delight. She had a daughter. Her daughter was very young.
Yeah.
And her daughter was sweet. But yeah,
she was, and I think that kid probably got dragged from relationship to relationship to house to house.
I don't think she stood a chance.
No.
I'll be honest.
No.
But yeah, so Susie was. She came in very hot, and she buttered us up. Like she would take us shopping. She seemed like she was cool. You know what I mean? We're like, oh, this is interesting. She seems cool. You're going to take me shopping. I'm 15 years old. Like, I have no money. Cool, let's go.
Yeah, she was very different from the first one.
Yes, she was much more in your face.
Yeah.
And
I really didn't have that much of a problem with her. She was good to me, and when she wanted to just buy me everything as a teenager, I was like, okay, you're cool.
Yeah.
But Lindsay hated her. But we can get into that.
We'll get into it.
My favorite part about Susie was that she came with a housekeeper.
Okay, so here's the thing. Susie moved in, and it was fine. Like, everything was fine. And then, from my perspective, suddenly this man lived with us, too. I was like, who the hell is this guy? And they're like, that's Luis. Yes. And I'm like, okay, what's Luis doing here? And it's like, he's going to do laundry. He's going to
Cook food,
clean,
run errands. He was
whatever.
like dad's personal assistant.
Here's the thing about it. We lived in a 2-bedroom condo.
Yep.
Okay. With our dad, Susie's daughter, who at the time was like 9.
Yeah.
And the 3 of us who
Yep.
were teenagers, all in high school together. So ranging from 14 to 17 is what you have to figure. I have no idea to this day where Luis slept. I have no idea. I don't know where he showered. I have no idea. I don't recall him having anywhere to sleep. He never left.
I mean, maybe there was some sort of throuple thing going on there and we just didn't know it.
Oh, Christmas. That's going to kill you. Oh, my God.
I'm just kidding.
Jesus.
No, he was definitely the housekeeper.
He didn't speak any English.
A little bit, but
Did he?
Enough, yeah. Like, so we used to come home from school. When I was a senior in high school, he would be home midday, so I could drive back and forth to school. And I remember bringing my friends home to the house and being like, Luis, make us lunch. And my friends were like, how do you have this random guy that just like lives in your house? And when you get home, there's like sandwiches ready for us. And then like we eat and leave and he cleans up. Like they were like, what is happening? I was like, I don't know, but just take care of it. Like just let it happen.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe because you were a little bit older, you have better recollection of the whole situation. But to me, he was just there. Like, I didn't know what this guy was doing. I'd always see him in the laundry room or in the kitchen. But I was like,
The laundry room.
okay.
So we used to get in trouble all the time for throwing our dirty clothes on the floor of the laundry room because the water heater was in there and the water heater had a pilot light. And they kept telling us, someday you're going to burn the house down because you throw your clothes on the floor. They're piling up. They're going to touch the pilot and everything's going to catch on fire. And we were like, all right.
Yeah.
Well, it happens.
Who knew? Like, who would have?
And literally, I remember it happening because I think I ran to whatever grown up was supposed to be home, and it, of course, was Luis. And that man went down and put that fire out with his bare hands. He did not get a fire extinguisher. Like, he was literally patting the floor of our dirty laundry because we were such assholes and couldn't listen, piled onto the thing. He's pounding away, put the fire out with his bare hands. Then I remember I had to take him to like the urgent care because his hands, of course, are covered in burns, blisters and burns. And like, Jesus. I just remember thinking like, this is not fucking normal. Like, who is this guy? Where am I?
Do you know what I remember from that situation, from the fire situation? I just remember coming home and Luis was there with like mittens. Essentially, he just had like gauze all wrapped around his hands. And somebody was like, there was a fire. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? In the laundry room, Luis put it out. You're like, with his hands. And he was like...
Oh my
so
God.
funny. I don't know whatever happened to him. I think he died.
I think he died too. Yeah.
I think he died.
But she left.
But I don't understand where he came from. Is my point. Like, were you smuggled?
Don't really know.
Do you have papers? I don't know. That was really.
He definitely did not, because when I had to take him to the doctor, we had to do like some sort of a under the table agreement with.
Jesus.
Yes, because he had no insurance or anything.
Where did she find him?
I don't. This is one of those things that maybe we should ask Dad about. I don't know if Dad even knows. He could have been like, "Don't ask questions. He's doing all the hard work."
He's like, "Shut up." Where does he sleep?
He's the only reason I keep her around.
That was so funny.
But she was batshit crazy. Like that was the only good thing about her, shopping and Luis. Then, like otherwise, she was a total twat.
Yeah, that took a turn. She really didn't like Lindsay.
No,
and, I mean.
Lindsay did not like her.
Lindsay didn't like her either. Yeah, you're right. But Lindsay didn't like her. I don't know why Lindsay didn't like her, actually. Do you?
No, I think she was just a bitch to Lindsay, and Lindsay was at her like rebel teen phase and was finally like standing up for herself or something, and she was like pissed.
I think Lindsay has a very long rope. It takes a lot to get a rise out of her. She's very type B personality, so she's not like us where if like somebody says something snarky, you
pop off right away,
jump at it.
Yeah.
Lindsay, it takes a long time for her to snap.
Yeah.
And when she snapped hard on this woman. And I mean, like, we let it happen too. It was Dad let it happen. It was amazing. She ended up, okay, so Lindsay and Susie obviously didn't get along. Susie it got to a point where she was getting on our nerves.
Yeah.
Like we were having enough of her.
Yeah.
She was getting on Dad's nerves. Like things started getting combative in the
she
house.
was annoying.
Yeah, it was whatever. And she was another one. She kind of reminds me of morphine, where like she all of a sudden started getting all of these ailments, and we're like, what? Like she had to have like kidney surgery or something. I don't know.
I don't know. It sounds like a dad. She needed dad's attention kind of thing.
Yes,
he was probably over it, and he's like, "Shit, I moved this bitch into my
Now I
house,
gotta get
and
her
she's
out."
got a kid. How do I get her out?
Exactly.
And keep her housekeeper."
Did we want to keep him?
I don't
know. I really don't know.
I enjoyed having him there.
It sounds very illegal.
Definitely.
Did anybody pay him?
I don't know.
I'm just curious. Like,
Not
was he
me.
compensated, or is it just like you get to live here illegally under the radar in this country,
I still don't know.
but you got to work off your
I think
food and
she
board?
paid him. I think they had some kind of an agreement, I'm sure.
I don't know. We got to find out where he came from. I really need to know like the backstory to that. But anyway, we drifted off a little bit there. But it was just tensions were starting to run high. We were starting to have just about enough of each other. We overstayed welcome. Dad was ready to get rid of her. I don't know. She was then having surgery or whatever.
I remember your dad finding letters that like Lindsay was writing. Like,
What?
she would write. So like Lindsay's way of like being mad was to like write you a death letter, like she was going to murder you in your sleep and take your eyeballs out with a fork and cook them over a campfire and eat them with, you know, chocolate and graham crackers. Like, so she was like writing death notes to Susie
Are you
like
serious?
in a journal because she was so mad and like trying to. This, I guess, was her outlet. We talked about journaling.
Not for me.
Not for me. Apparently it's for Lindsay. And if you get journaled about, watch out, because she's coming for you.
Lindsay's a journaler.
But Dad found them, and he was like, oh, fuck. Like, Lindsay's pissed. Like, she doesn't get this mad. But they had it out, like, I think after the journaling and everything, right? There was, like, a fist fight or something.
Yes. Okay. There was definitely a fist fight. And it was awkward. It was really awkward. But it was awkward. Like my boyfriend at the time when I was 14 was there. He witnessed the whole thing. It was the three of us, Dad and Susie. And I don't know, Susie and Lindsay got into it. And Susie ended up calling Lindsay a fat fuck. And that was it. Like Dad was trying to break it up, like whatever was going on.
But he kind of let Lindsay go.
But the second she called Lindsay a fat fuck, Dad was like, have at it. Lindsay was on her ass. We just let her pound her.
No
For
kidding.
like, I'm not kidding.
I definitely wasn't.
This.
I don't think I was there for
Are
this.
you serious?
No, I remember like hearing about it, but I don't think I was
Oh
there.
my God. Then it was.
Because honestly, I
my
feel like-
boyfriend, when I was a freshman, was definitely there. And he was like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? But we just let her beat her ass.
I
for
feel
a
like
little
if I
bit.
was there, I probably would have been in on it.
Well-
So it's probably good that I wasn't
No,
there.
it was definitely good because you probably would have shanked her. Like
Right.
you would have lost your mind.
Yeah.
But like as soon as the words left her mouth, you fat fuck, Dad was like, "That's it. Have at it."
Ooh.
And Lindsay just went to town on her. And this woman was like this frail little skinny tiny little thing.
Yep.
And Lindsay was just on her, just laying shots until finally we were like, "Okay, that's enough. Now you got to calm down a little
Did
bit."
she like mess her up? Like her face?
I don't remember. Honestly, the next thing I know, Dad was literally grabbing Susie and was like, not grabbing, but like ushering Susie and was like, get the fuck out of our house.
Oh.
Now you're out. That like, don't ever talk to my daughter like that again. Get the fuck out.
And that was the
This
end.
is the end.
Okay.
Yep. And I think she
Okay.
came back like a week later to get her stuff.
Right.
And then we never saw her again. And I was
Yeah.
like, huh,
No, she just disappeared.
bye.
This is why internet relationships are risky.
Bye.
You never know what you're really going to get.
Ooh.
And then we have Lucy.
Oh, Lucy.
Lucy is our stepmother, and we love her dearly.
We do.
And she is a fucking trooper.
I'll tell you
because
what.
of all these women, we
She got
gave
it
it
the
to her
worst.
the hardest.
The worst. And now, okay, so that situation, again, this is me going back in time to where I was in life at like maybe 17 years old.
Yeah, because I was like 19.
Yeah, so I probably was between 16 and 17. I was 17.
Yeah, no, that's right. I was 18, 19. So that you were, because Johnny and I are 10 years apart.
Okay.
So he was 8 when they started dating.
Okay.
So I was 18.
So to me, everything happened very quickly.
Yes.
Very, very quickly. It was like, Dad was like, oh, I started seeing someone. We're like, who? We didn't know who it was, whatever. And
Well, she was our housekeeper.
yeah, she was. She was the cleaning lady.
Was our cleaning lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I think, how they met each other.
That was how they met, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next thing, like, to me, in my brain, how I remember it was, like, the next thing I knew, she was living with us. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what are we, just moving people in and out now? Is that what we're doing? Because I don't like that. Like,
Yeah.
this is too much. And I remember, like, something happened quickly where, like, as soon as she had moved in, I went to go and get something out of a cabinet, like a glass. And, like, all of the cabinets were rearranged. And I'm like, who the fuck comes into somebody's house and just starts rearranging the cabinets? Like, who the fuck are you? In my punk ass 16-year-old head.
Yes.
All right? And that was it for me. That's where I was like, oh, I don't motherfucking think so. That's my house. Whatever.
Yeah.
We were out of control at this point. So
I don't even know why I hated her in the beginning. I think it was just to make her life a living hell, because she did move in, and I think the shit that happened with Susie kind of left us all a little like turn.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no more of these bitches. Like,
nobody's moving
stay in your own space, stay
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
our
yeah.
space, or we'll have to kill you like we did to the last one. Like, just go away.
And then it was like little things that would make us pop off. Like, she'd park her, like, we had a 2-car garage and her car got to go in the garage.
Yep.
And we were like, what the fuck is that? Like,
Yeah.
I want to put my car in the garage. Why is her car in the garage? And it just happened so fast in my mind. It was literally over a few months. And then the next thing I knew, they were in, again, next thing I knew, now I hear they're engaged. And then the next thing I knew, it's like we're walking down aisles. And I'm like, what? How did this happen so quickly?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on? It was bizarre.
So did we start torturing her? We tortured her before they got married, because I think there was like a period of time where Dad
Relentlessly.
Yeah, Dad was like, you can't, like, we kind of wanted to go to the wedding because we were like older at the time, and like we were like, this will be fun, but I feel like
It was like dress up.
Yeah, it was like a
fucking
fun day
dress
to go
up.
out. It was like an event.
We get to be in a wedding.
But I don't think we were like really about it at the time.
No.
I mean, we love her now.
Now we, listen, now we are so close. I adore her. She is wonderful to my daughter. My daughter loves her.
Yeah, she's our kid's grandmother.
She's great.
They've been married 20 years.
Yeah, like we all get along so well. She is such a good soul.
Yeah.
She really is. I mean, how she survived us. If it were me, I would have been like, fuck this guy. I don't need this shit.
Yeah.
See ya.
But that's one of the things I think for me today that proved that like she really did love Dad and he loved her. She stuck it out through all this bullshit with us, and we
Right.
were vicious.
Right.
So let's talk about some of the things that we did to her.
Okay, so let's start with Garth.
Okay, Garth.
Okay,
Garth is my
so
favorite.
when she moved into our house, she had brought a few things from her house, and it was one of the things that she brought, and we came home and it was hanging on the wall, and we're like, what is this white trash shit? It was almost like a sketched picture of Garth Brooks.
Yeah, like something you would win at a carnival.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
threw the ball, and it like
was-
it was not it wasn't this
framed.
beautiful piece
No.
of art. It was like an 8x10 drawing of Garth Brooks's face.
And I swear to God, the eyes followed you. It hung. We came home and it was hung in like the living room or the den or wherever, whatever that room was called. And we were like, what the fuck is that trash? Like, not that Garth Brooks is trash. I don't even mean it that way. It was just that, like, this is not something we would hang on the wall.
Go with our decor.
No, it made no sense. The fact that it was hung up, we're like, no. So we, as the little bitches that we were, would hide it. We would take it down and hide it. And days would go by and Dad would come home and that picture is not back on the wall. By the time I get home from work, you're all dead. You're all getting kicked out. And we were like, we're not going anywhere. Like, it's fine.
And then he would make like some sort of threat that actually scared us. Something would happen, like we either needed to go somewhere or money for something, and he'd be like, "If Garth is not back up on the wall, you're not going to prom," or whatever. So we're like, "Shit!" So we'd put Garth up, and then we'd take him down like a couple days later, and he'd come home and he'd be like, "Where's Garth?" Everybody would get so mad, and poor Lucy was crying and like would be so upset because she loved that picture so much. I wonder if she still has it.
She
I think
totally
it's
still
hanging
has
in the
it.
dining room in their house right now.
It is not in the dining room. I redid their dining room. There's
Oh.
no, do you think I would have that picture in the dining room?
I mean-
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They could hang it in their bedroom.
I don't know.
Let Garth watch you guys for a while. How's that feel?
His eyes definitely did.
God, that was so
follow you.
creepy. But that was the
so
worst.
funny. Garth, we would destroy Garth. Okay, so another thing that we did to them, this is mean, but we used to, when they were like together in their new relationship, they were very active in their romantic life. And somehow,
like rabbits.
yes,
My room was right next to theirs.
Ugh, I slept in the basement, so I didn't hear
Yeah,
it.
I'm glad. Good for you.
But I knew what was going on. And they had, I don't know how, I don't know if it was us being like Snoopy bitches or whatever, but they had a collection of videos in their bedside table that somehow got brought to our attention. I don't know if someone found them or we found them. I forget how we figured that out.
Honestly, Jessica, we could have been going in there looking for money.
Right.
All right. Like, we just felt like everything in that house belonged to us.
Right, we were a bit
All right?
entitled.
Yeah, we were very entitled.
You wonder
That was-
why. You hear all these stories.
God
though.
almighty.
Yeah.
Well, it was a free-for-all. It wasn't our fault. Dad set
So
that precedence.
we found the collection of porn. And
Like VHS porn.
Yeah.
Like this was before.
No, like DVDs. It was like DVDs.
There were a lot of VHSs.
So Rob, my husband, had a guy at work that he used to get like counterfeit movies from and stuff, because you'd get like hot DVDs that you couldn't like buy like in the store or that were in the theaters. Like, what are they called? The bootleg videos or
Bootlegs,
whatever.
yep.
So in addition, this guy used to get porn. And so, I mean, my husband at the time was like a 20-year-old kid. So of course they're all getting these DVDs. Well, the guy would give him like stacks of porn DVDs, and we would pull out the ones that were like absolutely horrible, like big fat women and like whatever. I don't think you're allowed to say that word, but like little people, like just like weird, obscure porn shit, like freak shit.
There was a name of one that like we used
The
to.
Big Mamu.
No.
It was like a huge African American woman.
Yeah. Yes.
And we,
Yes.
So anyway, so we would get these porn videos and we would go in their bedroom and we would take out their porn videos and we would replace
Swap
them
it.
with the creepy
With
fetish
the weird
porn videos. And to this day, this is the first time I am telling this story to anyone. No one has ever said a word.
Nobody ever called us out.
Not
Dad
a
never
goddamn
was
word.
like, what the fuck is this? Did you put this in there? There was nobody ever said anything.
Nothing.
Ever.
I don't even know if they know until right now that it was us. I mean, I'm sure they figured it out,
I mean, who else would have put that there?
but we were pretty terrible.
God, can you? I'm curious if they ever had a
I
conversation
have
where
no
she's like,
idea. I guess we'll find out.
"Is this what
Is
you're
this
into
yours?
now?"
You're into this now?
Or Dad's like, I just can't even imagine. That's so free. Nobody's ever said a word though. That was hilarious.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
You threw a ton of parties when they were out of town?
I did. So we had at the time, I was 18, 17 maybe?
Yeah.
No, maybe even younger, 16. And you were, you were able to drink.
Or
no,
I
your
was-
boyfriend
my
was
boyfriend
able.
was able to buy beer at
Yeah,
the time.
so he got me kegs and I would have parties at the house. And I remember New Year's Eve, we had one hell of a ripper.
Yes.
And we turned the house upside down. I mean, like, our parents don't smoke, nothing like that. We were smoking cigs. We hotboxed the basement.
Yep.
Mark was there. He was probably like 13.
Yep. There was fighting. Someone ate the 3-wick candle on the kitchen table, like had like bite marks in it. I was like, these people are savages. They actually like ate a candle.
We were literally putting out cigarettes on the living room floor.
Oh my God.
I couldn't believe
You
it.
guys at New Year's like shook a bottle.
We had to scrub the ceiling.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. But we got away with it until Lucy found a bottle cap.
Did you get in trouble like once they finally figured it out?
Yeah, I remember coming home from school, and this is when you had like voice, like machines, like actual
Voice.
like a voice machine.
Yeah, like an answering machine.
An answering machine, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a message from him, Dad, on my answering machine. He's like, "You are fucking dead when I get home." And I was like, "Uh-oh, he sounds serious." Like I wasn't gonna be able to talk my way out of that one. I don't remember being like grounded or anything.
No.
If you ever like laid down any kind of, listen, I'll tell you what, there should have been much more discipline, maybe consequences.
Yeah.
But he wasn't like that. He wasn't like that as a parent. He wasn't like that as a even as a boyfriend. Like, so when he was dating Lucy, I remember waking up one morning and I had fallen asleep on the couch. Lucy was getting ready for work. And this was, again, very early in their relationship. And one of the things that drove our dad and Lucy absolutely nuts was Lindsay would like always leave dishes in the sink. So the sink was empty and clean when they went to bed. My dad left for work. Lucy was getting ready and she saw there was dishes in the sink because Lindsay had made food the night before and just left them in the sink.
Okay.
And she said something about bitching about Lindsay to Dad. I overheard her talking to Dad about it.
You're like, here we go again.
Well, that was it. The second she hung up the phone, I was like, you dirty fucking cunt rag. Like, I don't ever talk about my sister like that. Mind your business.
You called her that?
I did.
Oh
my God. I was
God.
so mouthy. I just said whatever the fuck I wanted. There was no consequence to it.
I know.
None, seriously.
Ugh.
So this is a perfectly good example. I laced into her. And I'll never forget it. She just took it while she was sitting there doing laundry. Like, took it. And I was like, oh my God.
She did. She never came back at us.
No, she never said a word. I went to work. We all worked together, right? I went to work and I'm sitting at my desk and all of a sudden Dad comes down and he's like, peeks his head in my cube and he's like, hey, good morning. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, did you call Lucy a dirty fucking cunt rag this morning? I'm like, I certainly did. Something you want to say about it? And he was just like, oh my God, and walked out of the room.
That's it. No, like, you shouldn't speak to people like that. You're in big trouble. You're going to apologize
Don't
when you
ever
get
speak
home.
to her like that again.
Like,
No, just
oh, God.
my God.
I think they like totally avoided conflict with us because it made it worse. And because I think if you like came at us, we would make it worse. So they would like try to, but she never said anything. And I think it was because they knew like if you came at us or even tried to fight us verbally or what, it was just going to make it that much worse.
Yeah.
So ignoring us ended up being the best approach because eventually we just tolerated her and then we learned to like sort
and like
of
we were vicious, like
love her.
When Haley was born, we're like, you can't call her she's not going to call you grandma.
Yeah.
Like we were mean.
Yeah,
really mean.
We were horrible. And
Not nice.
And she was so good with Haley and like
Oh, she was wonderful.
took
with
such
her.
good care of her.
We were just terrible people.
Tell about the time that you called into, was it Z100?
Z100. I was on my way to work and they had a topic come up that was to tell what's the craziest parenting advice you ever got from craziest advice you got from one of your parents. So I called in and I said, my dad gave me this advice one time. I asked him why he always had more than one girlfriend because there was always an overlap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if there was always an overlap.
Yeah.
And I remember he would like have a new girlfriend immediately after he would unload one of them. So I was like, I don't understand. Like, why do you always have more than one girlfriend? And his advice was, well, Ashley, let me explain something to you. They're like cars. You don't sell your old one until you got a new one lined up to buy.
Oh my God.
And Elvis Duran or whoever was on was like, oh my God. And they were laughing hysterically at it. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, wow, it's on the radio. This is great. It's Ashley from West Milford. Hey, have a great day. I get to work and everyone in the office was like, were you on the radio this morning?
Oh, no.
Dad comes running down and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, that was totally me. I was on the radio. I'm like, how cool. Oh my God, he wanted to kill me.
You definitely outed him.
Well, maybe you don't say those things then.
I mean, yeah, it's probably not good advice to be giving.
Oh, he's come such a long way. He's
has.
so not like that at all anymore. He's the nicest man
No,
ever.
and that's why I love telling these stories about him because it's almost like two completely different people.
It
like who he is
absolutely
today
is.
versus who he was then. He's evolved and become such a better human and learned from his mistakes. And I think Lucy sticking by his side through all of this shit because we were horrible to her.
And
horrible.
I mean, teenage pregnancies, the
oh
worst.
my God, yeah, she got it all. She
Yeah.
got the worst of the worst,
Yeah.
I think, for sure.
But she made it out the other end.
And she did, and we love her so
I
much.
know.
She is the best.
Yeah, we're very lucky for that. Like that, she stuck around. To be honest, we're very lucky because she's a good egg. She really is.
Yeah.
That poor thing. I remember apologizing to her when I was like in my late 20s.
I apologize to her now, like every time I see her, because I now is like being grown. I can't even imagine. I would have killed us if I was her.
I would have cut bait.
Or I would have left Dad and been like, bye.
I don't need this. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, no.
Good luck.
I don't know how
she got a lot going on.
She just goes to show you how much she truly does love him,
Yeah,
because she
does.
put up with that crap for so long. Oh my God.
That was so bad. That
Yeah.
was so bad. And like these, like insults and the things that we would say to her, like they were an ongoing, regular thing. It wasn't like, oh, once you called her a dirty butt, whatever, you know, like
Yeah.
it was a regular thing.
It
We
was
would,
so
I
mean.
mean, oh my God, it was bad.
It
God
was.
forgive us.
I know, seriously, God does need to forgive us, because we were horrible to her. We were so lucky to have her
Yes.
today, and she's an amazing mother and a grandmother, and I literally, like, I talk about her like as if she's our mom, because she's been around as long as Mom. Like at this point,
Yeah.
Dad and Lucy have been married longer than Mom and Dad were married. So
They are a true team, those two.
Yeah.
Like they are 100% a team.
He would be completely lost without her.
I know, he
at this
would.
point in life.
He would.
I know, we love her.
Yeah.
So I guess the point is, if you are dating and newly single and you have children, it's just to be very mindful of how you're easing these new people right into the
Into their life.
relationship, because you have to be sensitive, I think, to the kids and to put yourself in their shoes. Change like this can get crazy. And sometimes it's good. Sometimes it can be disruptive for like a really long time, and you just don't know what you're going to get. But I think what could have really helped us is if someone talked to us about
agree.
it, like before it happened, like as opposed to us being on the outside of things and these decisions being made without consulting us. And not that we really needed to be consulted with.
No, but making sure we were comfortable and on board. Like,
Right. But just like
I don't-
telling us, hey, I'm dating this person. They have these kids.
Hey, I'm
They're
gonna get
come-
engaged.
Come in here. Right. I'm getting engaged.
Like-
Whatever.
Nobody told me he was
No.
getting engaged. They got back from like a cruise or something and they were engaged. Like things like that should be like, I don't know, a united discussion. You know what I mean? There should have been discussions.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think you need to be really sensitive to the comfortability of your kids. Some might be, wide open to it right away. Some might need some easing in.
Yeah. I would say don't force it. Like, try to be sensitive and cognizant of their comfortability, because it really can like make a difference long term. And I think we got super lucky that Lucy stuck around, because God only knows what the situation could have been if she didn't. But I'm glad that they love each other and that it did work out. But I regret the things that we went through, and I feel like it wouldn't have had to have been that hard for her or for us if someone would have just communicated better.
Yeah, I think a few things could have gone differently. I think timing could have been better.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it seemed very fast. So, that's a lot of shock to someone's system when they're used to their routine and used to what their life is. So I agree. Ease into it. Don't ignore your kids. Try to respect their feelings. I mean, they're going through
Honesty.
it too.
Be
I think
honest.
that's fair.
Transparency.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
I think they'll get a lot more out of it. So anyway, let us know what you think. We'd love to hear comments from anybody who has a situation that's sort of similar on our social media. So if you've been through something like this, or you have funny stories from maybe people you dated or your parents have dated when you were younger that sort of impacted your entire life, let us know.
Hopefully we're not the only ones who have physically assaulted girlfriends and or verbally assaulted girlfriends. Please tell us somebody else out there has.
We're definitely pretty
God.
crazy. Anyway, thanks
Mess.
for listening, guys. We're Sisters Uncensored. And follow us on social media, on YouTube, Apple Music, and Spotify.
And we'll see you next time.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
Bye.